Hi, Alyssa. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Paris. Happy to be here.
I have to say how excited I am for this special. I mean, you sat down with a dream team full of incredible Indigenous women. Can you tell us more about the special and who viewers will see?
I love talking about identity as a mixed race Tlingit woman who is very, I guess, concerned about the next 7 generations of Indigenous identity, Indigenous futurism. I really wanted to get all of the women at the table's takes on what's the appropriate way to refer to Native people in our various communities, as I knew the audience is going to be mainstream America, and we don't often get to have them as our audience for Native topics. I wanted to debunk certain topics like blood quantum and help our audience understand why that might not be the most appropriate thing to ask and how Native identity is more complex than that. Another topic that I felt was very important to speak about with a table of incredible Native women was missing and murdered Indigenous people. And so we touch on that. And then with having Crystal Echohawk and two other women, Amber and Jane, at the table, who are just such a force in Native Hollywood, then of course I had to talk about Native stereotypes and how those are perpetuated in the media, and also just get a sense of the work they're doing to try and increase Native representation in Hollywood. So those are the few of the topics. So I'm proud of those.
Yeah, I'm so glad you touched on that because I've personally, I'm sure a lot of people have never seen content like this on such a large scale in mainstream media. From your experience as a storyteller and a journalist, what impact do you see this special having?
The impact that I see the special having is greater dialogue within mainstream America about the fact that natives still exist, that we're still here, and hopefully to have their interest perked enough so that they will want to see more Indigenous content and be more curious about us. Because I think that while uh, the Crystal Echohawks of the world and some of the other women at the table, their work is so important on the Native side to state and point out through research, even like what Illuminative has created to show that there needs to be more Native content. But then we also need mainstream America to have a demand for it. And I really hope with the ratings of the show that then there will be a business case made that people will watch content that is about Native Americans. And so the president of MSNBC, Rashida, and her executive team can then sit around and be like, okay, here's the budget. So hoping that we get to make more, not necessarily in this format, but just more Indigenous content.
Can you tell us what it was like working with the Suquamish Tribe?
They were just wonderful hosts. They just opened their community to us, and they had a salmon bake and a canoe landing ceremony, and they seemed very just happy to have us. And NBC even pointed out in our crew dinner after the filming was completed, like that night we all got together, and they're like, we'd never felt so welcome. And then I don't know if I said this out loud, but I thought it. I was like, well, welcome to Indian country. When you come on our lands, it's part of our culture to make you feel at home.
I'm sure we can't all wait to see these conversations that you had. Can you tell us a little bit about the conversations off camera behind the scenes with the women?
Well, I really appreciated Janae Casanavoid and Amber Midthunder's friendship. I don't know if they knew each other before the show. They, like, after we wrapped, were like out in the grass, like doing a lot of TikToks. And that's when I realized I was just just past their generation to be as good at TikTok as them. So I found that impressive, and I just thought their friendship to be really cute. Like Allie Young and I really vibed, and so we sat together, at the dinner. For me, it mostly was at that dinner. I didn't get to spend as much time with them before taping. The way that it was set up was they wanted my initial meeting with them to be on camera, and so I came down from this area of the venue that they had me at, where I had wanted to write thank you notes to all the women in the show, and I was doing that while they were also being delivered once I would finish them. And then that was taped, and so then I met them. It was very quick and it was all filmed, and then they had Secretary Holland had a pre-taping of a message to us, and then we all stood and watched that. And then, I mean, we were just on camera together like the whole time, other than that dinner afterwards. So I guess that's something that I would have liked more, was to get to have what they did, which was like more time to like hang out at the hotel. But that wasn't my role. So I thought if you ever get to interview any of them, I would love to know what their conversations were off camera.
Kind of on that, like, what hopes do you have for future storytellers to continue doing this work? I'm super curious, and whatever inspired you to become a storyteller and journalist, what it would have been like if you saw this kind of content, when you were younger before choosing this career path.
I hope that Native journalists and storytellers who are coming up now will be able to see themselves in a role at NBC, ABC, any of the major mainstream cable news television stations that they may dream of. I think that there's also a lot of entrepreneurship that can take place in media, and I think we see that with the Native entrepreneurs who are in media on TikTok and Instagram. I mean, Native TikTok is really cool. So I don't think that the only way to be able to tell Native stories is by becoming an NBC contributor. But what it would have meant to me to see someone in this position when I was coming up would just, I think we all need to see like what's possible, and to see someone give us a little bit of a roadmap. And so maybe I would have had this dream. I actually didn't initially dream of becoming an NBC contributor because I just didn't know it was in the cards. So I just hope that it's causing people to expand their idea of what's possible for them if they are really committed to Native media and storytelling. I think that there is an increased interest in Native stories, and so let's all ride this wave together, because we need to have as many voices shining light in our community as possible to show we're still here.
Yes, make sure you tune in. The Culture is Indigenous Women airs on Sunday, June 4th on MSNBC, or you can stream on Peacock anytime after. Alyssa London, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Paris.